Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of Den Excelsior, the mostly Marvel podcast. I'm Ricky, as always. With me is Dennis, and let's talk about some Marvel stuff.
You know, when I used to introduce you, I made it a whole thing.
I
But now you're just
can't
like,
give you a
with
nickname.
me is Dennis.
We gotta get these breaks in so that way once we start slotting ads, it just
Not even like with me is our show's namesake. You know, like nothing. I don't get any adjectives.
I
Nothing
mean,
at all.
I can address you even more. We can toss your name around.
I'm just saying, you make me feel so special, Ricky, every time we do this.
Yeah, I mean,
Dennis is here.
Yeah, Dennis is here. You're always here. Every time the show's on, you're here.
So
where's the surprise? Where's the mystery?
Let's make it a spectacle. Let's make the whole thing interesting for the people who are tuning in. You know, I'm just saying. There's people that listen to us weekly.
I checked the Podbean. There are definitely people who at least download it, which is all we care about.
Well, no,
you can listen if you want.
That's not all we care about. I care about the people listening, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I am very humbled that you find this to be entertaining or informative or both, and I think Ricky is too. So
yeah,
totally. But we're gonna do it anyways.
Mm-hmm. Let's just get right into what you've been nerding out on this week.
One thing, really, just one thing, like hardcore binge.
Is it like a TV show? Wait, let me guess. Is it Twisted Metal?
You know what? I finished that over the weekend, so I guess two things. I didn't consider Twisted Metal to be a hardcore binge.
Okay.
It was 20. There were 22-minute episodes. You know.
So you did a binge. Wait, what's the difference between a binge and a hardcore binge?
A hardcore binge is 5 seasons of Mayans MC, which are about hour episodes each. I'm actually 3 away from finishing that show. Yeah, that's my hardcore binge.
Did you watch all of Sons of Anarchy?
Yeah, I actually did.
You need to watch all of Sons of Anarchy to watch that show.
Do you?
Yeah.
It turns out you do. Yeah.
As a Latino male, that show has always piqued my interest, especially at Comic-Con. They have that big ass banner on the Hilton.
Yeah.
Yes. I have Mayans merch through association, but I just
so do I.
I'm not watched it.
No, yeah. So I used to watch Sons of Anarchy a lot back in the day when it was on TV, and I think the second to last season, the finale was just too over the top for me, and I just kind of like quit. I was like, nah. Like I was along for the ride for a while. There was some ups and downs. It got a little rocky sometimes, but like they went to Ireland for a whole season. That was weird. But yeah, it's like the motorcycle club just packs all their bikes on the boats, I guess, and like, you know what I mean. It got weird.
I want to know about the logistics of that.
But I finally, like, when I was doing that retreat I did a few months ago on vacation, I decided to like finally go back and finish it. So I finished Sons of Anarchy over that week, and then I was like, all right, I have the shirt from Comic-Con just like you, and I gotta support the show that has the most brown people ever. Yeah. Like, and doing cool things, and it's got Edward James Olmos.
Yeah, you have a show with a Latin cast. You have him.
And I had to assume that like it's the same showrunner plus a new showrunner as Sons of Anarchy. The new guy is actually OG, like a real motorcycle gang member, like And so I was like, it's got to be better than Sons, right? And so. It is better, but like it builds off of Sons. So it's kind of like it likes to live in a shared universe. So the Sons of Anarchy story actually keeps continuing here and there throughout that show.
So white people show up.
What's up?
White people show up.
Yeah, the white people are like the guest stars on the show. It's pretty.
Wait, do
funny.
they get Charlie Hunnam in some?
Spoilers. He actually dies at the end of his show.
Oh,
so
that show's ended a while back. We can spoil that show. It's fine.
Well, I'm just saying, like, this show continues from after.
Yeah.
So like, you're not gonna get the dead people on the show. You know what? I misspoke. They do some flashbacks and they sneak in some characters that are dead now, but they sneak them in. But yeah, for the most part, in the beginning of the season or the show, it was kind of like, hey, here's a cameo for fun and stuff. But like,
yeah, they got to loop you in.
As it's progressed, it's become more and more about like, it's culminating in the Mayans versus the Sons of Anarchy.
I want to watch a race war show.
It kind of is a race war show. So, so when I say like you could watch Mayans without ever, but like you would appreciate everything happening more. It's like if you watch Batman versus Superman and you only ever got to know who Superman was, that's like half the.
That was kind of what that movie was.
Yeah, but we already knew who Batman was. You know what I mean? That's the difference.
What's funny? I'm a big movie person, and I was kind of cleaning my desk, and I came across my Ghost Rider figure, my Robbie Reyes, and I don't know what got me going, but I was like, I want to write the Ghost Rider movie. And I started typing out bullet points. Is that weird? I've never written a script.
Mind you could just ask ChatGPT to clean it up for you as a script.
I mean, something just compelled me to start typing stuff. And it's nowhere near anywhere cohesive. But for whatever reason, that idea came in my mind. And it's like, I think I could probably take a crack at it. Will it do anything? No. But
I know why you did it. It's because you love nerdy stuff and you love representation. And you were just as sad as I was last year that we didn't get that Robbie Reyes figure, because
had a spot on the shelf,
right? It's cool. I'm not going to knock you for trying to do that. Whatever. Like, if you're interested in doing that kind of stuff, you should definitely look into a more formal training for it, because that's cool. That's a cool avenue to explore. That said, knowing that you have that itch, you should definitely watch Mayans MC, because like I'm not gonna lie, man. Like I loved Sons of Anarchy because it was a fun show. I love Mayans way more because it's a fun show, and I just get to see people that look like me all the time, and that's a cool thing, man. It's a really cool experience. So
I was watching. We binged This Fool on Hulu.
Yeah, I've been tempted on that one too.
I'll say this: that show is fun. I don't think it's the greatest thing ever, but it is fun. You can get the representation too with that. But there's an episode in it's episode 6 of season 2. It's kind of a one-off, and it's like the hijinks of the grandmother, who is kind of like a helper, cleaner type of person.
You relate.
It is you watch that episode and you will see the relation to the people in our family a goddamn T. So much so that I texted my mom. I'm like, please watch just this one episode, because you need this therapy on how crazy the hijinks get with this grandmother.
I'll check that one out.
So you're watching Mayans
and I did. To go back to it, I watched the crap out of Twisted Metal, and not only did I watch it, but I was so happy that my wife enjoyed watching it. Like, she really liked that show. Like, in the beginning, I would say the first 4 episodes are kind of like just okay, but somewhere right in the middle of that season, it just takes off. And did you finish it?
No, I only saw the first 2 episodes. Saw the first one at Comic-Con.
Okay.
I like it. Anthony, I think it's very self-aware on what that property is, but it does a really good job when I've seen of onboarding, because Do we want to talk spoilers? Can we talk some spoilers?
I don't want to spoil the show for people. Like, it just came out last week, so
It does a good job on, I feel like, easing everybody on the insanity that was that games, and not only the stupidity.
it does
but
great world building. It does world building that is accessible, and
exactly.
and it's not, and it's definitely not trying to be The Last of Us. It is a post-apocalyptic universe, apocalyptic universe, but it's zany and it's funny and it's
Mhm.
and it's you know
Everyone's not necessarily depressed the whole time. Like they're making the best of it.
they definitely embrace the madness of the Mad Max world. So like every gang has like a themed wardrobe that they have to wear, and like it's pretty funny, man. It reminds me of like the Harley Quinn version of Mad Max, like where it's just like poking fun at all the silliness that takes place in that kind of world. So I highly recommend it. If you ever played the video games, double highly recommend it, because it really does. It does reward you as fans of the games if you're patient. It takes a little while before you start getting the really good meat of it. Like, and when
Well, that's I think where it gets like it's blood missiles, right? They don't start there.
There. They get to the place that you need it to go, and Sweet Tooth 100% delivers. That character is awesome, and he's hilarious and terrifying looking at the same time. Like every time, the body actor Samoa Joe that did that character, wow, he is on next level. Like Will Arnett. What's up?
How old is Samoa Joe?
I don't know, but all I'm saying is like Will Arnett is just like icing on the cake of that character. Like
that was a good pairing. That was a good. Yeah. I think people were hung up on it for a minute, but it works.
That character is right in the pocket, man. It is just the perfect amount of like, I can hang out with this character and feel uneasy, but still like watch a 22-minute episode about him and not feel like gross or something like that. You know, like it's just right on that line. Like it's pretty special. So highly recommend Twisted Metal. If you're into silly, gory, apocalypse humor, and then highly recommend Mayans MC if you're into Mexican motorcycle gangs. Or if you didn't know you're into Mexican motorcycle gangs, you know.
You're biker gang curious if you watch.
If you're biker gang curious, check out that show. Yeah.
Oh, what else did I watch this week? Reservation Dogs back. Show's great.
I know. I'll get there. It's a lot of stuff, a lot of content.
Shit, I feel like I watched one more thing. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately, actually, if I'm being honest. I
don't know why.
I listened to a exorcism podcast.
Okay.
And they do it with an actual exorcist, and they kind of bring on doctors and psychiatrists to like give their breakdown of what's happening. But it was really fascinating because it gets like really into like the specifics of like even like the legality of it, that it's not necessarily all about like what the movie portrays, right? It's more or less in the business of it, and not, well, they're not there to make money, but you know, the logistics and whatnots, and that surprisingly had been occupying most of my time this week.
You know what I just realized? Not that I'm not interested in what you just said. That's hilarious. I did nerd out on one other thing besides the two things that we're going to talk about tonight. I watched Barbie on Monday, and
are you enough?
I love that movie. I love that movie. I think it was a really good movie.
Should we have done a show on that movie? It's a toy.
No, I don't think it's our place. I don't think that's It's fine. I just can love that movie. I can love that movie, but I don't think we need a Barbie episode.
Which one was your favorite Barbie?
I mean, you really just follow Margot Robbie through most of the movies. It's not like you're hanging out with all the other ones. But Issa Rae is pretty funny as well as one of the other.
We went to her coffee shop this week. Fun fact. It's a really good coffee shop. There's no more to that story. That's my Issa Rae connection for the week. I'm sorry.
But I'm just saying, if you want to take your daughter to see a positive role model kind of movie, Barbie's pretty good. Unless you're somebody that's worried that Barbie will turn your daughter gay, and then probably don't see that movie.
I mean, if you're that person, maybe.
You're already not seeing Barbie.
Yeah, you're not seeing that.
Yes. But I will say, Barbie is like up there, like as I would say, it's got more bite than the Lego movie, but it's got the same plot.
I don't know if the Lego movie needed that bite though.
No, Lego movie is not about bite. It's just like, hey, play Legos, please. Play Legos.
There's a charm to that first Lego movies.
Oh, I'm not saying it's a bad movie at all. I love Lego movie. It's an excellent movie. I'm just saying it's neutered compared to what Barbie does. Like Barbie, well, I don't know if that's the right terminology.
I don't know.
But
they're all smooth down there, so
Barbie has more of a point to make than the Lego movie does. And I think it does an excellent job of that. Sorry, I know you're segueing. Conversely, I watched Super Mario Brothers on Peacock last night. That movie,
I really didn't like it. Do you say it's bad or it's fine?
It was boring as crap. Like it was the most.
I don't know if it was boring.
It was boring. Our friend Kelly said his 8-year-old child was barely entertained by that movie. Like that tells me boring. Like I'm not the only one who agrees.
Well, I always throw it out. Like, do kids today relate with Mario? And I don't think it's as much as it was back in the day.
Yeah, I just don't think that movie had anything to say at all or do. It was just like, here's Mario. Here's the characters.
Fun. I enjoyed the beats of the movie. It's a very, I don't say safe Mario movie, but they do the things. Mario gets the powers. He runs the course. Donkey Kong does the thing. There's go-karts. It checks a lot of the Mario boxes for me, and I was happy. The one thing I didn't, my only gripe with that movie is I wish they would have played the music.
Gripe?
Yeah, my only gripe. I wish they would have played the music the music that movie's, obviously ripped from the game. They're not ripped from the game, but it's like an orchestral score of the game music. I wish they would have just had the game music and at least some parts of it, because I think the music in that game is in its own pillar of itself. So it would have been nice while you're celebrating Mario and all his, gander, to have the original score there.
I just felt like everything about that movie was bringing like a 7 energy instead of the 10 energy it should be bringing. Like when I watch Lego movie, my eyes are assaulted by Lego. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, wow, my ears are like assaulted. Like everything about that Lego movie is like, these guys brought it. They were like, we need people to know Lego as hard as possible. I felt like Mario was just like kind of just chilling and hanging out most of the time.
It made $1 billion. It's funny.
I'm not saying Trolls made $1 bazillion too. All right. Do you like that movie?
I like Trolls too. Ron punches. Harley Quinn's in that movie. It's funny at the directors on directing panel at Comic-Con, Gareth Edward had this kind of quote that kind of stuck out with me and some of the other directors on the panel, where he said, the best advice that I had gotten was, you can either make 2 types of movies. You can make a 3-star movie and everyone's going to think it's fine. Or you can make a 1 and 5-star movie where half the people are going to think it's the greatest thing in the world. Half the people are going to hate it. And you decide at the beginning on what type of movie you're going to make. And I think the Mario is a perfect example of that 3, where it's safe. It's very middle of the ground. It checks every box.
It has a Metacritic of 49. So critics are pretty much like, no, this movie sucks. It's just like, yeah, you're right. The viewer score is like 94. So I think the viewers knew what they wanted out of that movie, which was not a cinematic masterpiece. They wanted that 3, right? Like they wanted the 3-star film.
Well, I mean, you got to think about it, right? The first foray into Mario cinema was the example of the 1-5 You know, from
It's
earlier.
fair. It's fair. I mean, it sticks. Your whole statement is valid. Like it's I do not love the original Mario Brothers movie, but I will give it this. That movie had some balls. It had some big balls to do what it did in that
It was
movie.
making a statement.
Yeah, it was. It was. So it's a 1 or a 5. You're right. I get it. I get bored watching threes, I guess, is what it is. They don't do anything for me. So, but luckily we didn't watch 2 threes this week.
No, we watched 2 4s.
We're better than threes. Yes, for sure. For sure. We're going to be talking about Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, which came out this early this week, like on technically like Tuesday.
I think
And then
Wednesday is a release, but
yeah, Wednesday's the official. And then we'll also be talking about season 4, episode 4 of Harley Quinn. Yeah, I think that was, we'll talk about that briefly. But before that, you got other stuff you want to talk about, Ricky?
Yeah, we were doing a little meet and beating before the show earlier in the week, talking about Turtles. Turtles, obviously, very big staple in the comics world, but I think even a bigger staple in the toy world. That's safe to say. What pillar of Turtles you think ranks higher? Movie, toy, comic. I guess movie, show, comic.
That's tough. I think the comic was very the comic was like an indie, like indie. It had all the status of an indie indie comic, indie band, indie anything, right? Like it was like, it was cool if you knew about them, right? Like if you were in the know, you're passing around.
You're in the back of the comic book store.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And the difference is the cartoon made the Ninja Turtles a household name. Like the cartoon, like, changed things. So if you're fans of the comics, you're like, ugh. But at the same time, you can't deny that it gave the world the Ninja Turtles. And so, when people go see the movie like what was it, like 89 or something like that? I can't remember when that movie came out. That movie is excellent for, like, not only for back then, the artistry of, like, the Jim Henson's workshop still holds up today for the most part. Like I would say like 95%. Yeah, there's like a freeze frame where you can see the guy's face inside Donatello's mask, and it's horrifying. It's horrifying. But that said, that movie is awesome because it made a lot of money because people knew the cartoon. But what was cool about it is it got to reintroduce the comic kind of version. So it was telling more of the comic story to the people who were watching, with a lot of cartoon elements in there and stuff. And so it was a nice hybrid. I would say the toys are, like, to me, they were always like way secondary to the other 3 things. I'm not a big fan of those Ninja Turtles toys. I just
they're shitty toys.
Yeah, they're just not great toys for me. So for me, probably cartoon number 1, and then like the movie, all the different movies are like all combined as like number 2, and then just for accessibility. And then for me, I there's a special place in my heart for the comics, but I didn't read a lot of them growing up. So but I think what's awesome about the movies is they've made me understand those characters pretty well, and the shows, so
I think they're pretty turtle lore is one of those things up there with a Superman or a Batman or Spider-Man, where I think it's almost ingrained in American pop culture, where you kind of just absorb what the turtles are. There's baby turtles.
It's to the status where people are okay getting a Ninja Turtles remake every few years. You know what I mean? Like it's in that stratosphere. So I think good for them for taking this little joke that started out as like a comedic parody of the comic book industry, and like, lifted a lot of elements from Daredevil for fun, and then took that story and turned it into this multi-billion-dollar franchise that has survived countless reboots, man. It's a lot of reboots. It's a lot.
Turtles are not your toy, but what was your toy growing up?
I'm gonna let you guess one guess. You get one, and I know and you know it's not Marvel Legends. Like, I think you know that.
Do I know? I know it's not Legends because they weren't around back then. Oh, shit, what was your toy? Oh, it's Transformers, right?
Yeah. My toy is always Transformers. The greatest toy ever made is the Transformer because it is so many things in one. It's a vehicle. It's a it's a big ass Hot Wheels, right? Or a plane, whatever, right? It's like the biggest one. And back in the day when I was playing with them, they were just as metal as Hot Wheels, but 3 times as big. So they were painful if you hit somebody with them.
They workshop the shit out of those toys. All right.
Yeah.
It needs to be a car. What else do young boys like?
It needs to be
a
robot action figure.
All right, cool.
Guns.
Yeah, he has a gun.
And then it's also a Rubik's Cube, right? Because it's a puzzle. It's a puzzle. Like, yeah, it comes with instructions, but you want to be the cool person that can transform it super fast without the instructions. So you start learning the tricks of the puzzle. And I think that's one of the most fun toys ever made because it serves so many functions. And it's also, I don't think the toy itself is gender specific. Because I know like I there were girls that like playing, with the Transformers as much as I enjoyed playing with their Barbies and stuff like that. But I think what makes the Transformers kind of gender specific, like it skews more towards boys, is the Marvel comics and the cartoons that made it more, like they gave them characters. But I think just even without the characters, the toys themselves are just like the coolest thing. And like Soundwave and Optimus Prime are like my two, like, just
they are cool ass toys, like
perfect toys, so those are mine. What about you? What's your favorite toy?
Oh man, it's always Legos, I think, right? But I don't want, that's a cop out answer. Legos a lot of things. Specifically as a kid, my Lego flavor, as you will, was Bionicles. These things were the coolest piece of Lego because it was Technic, so it wasn't like, Lego bricks were for kids. These are for like teens, right? They're a little bit smaller, a little bit more precise, and they're action figures. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I had all of them. There was like a wave of 6, and there was a wave of 6 bad guys, and there was minions, and I had the most extensive of collections.
But you realize you like these for the same. I'm thinking you like these for the same reasons that I like the Transformers, right?
Yeah, because you would get it.
Things.
You put them together, and then you compose them, and then if you bought all 6, you can
mix and match
mix and match and make it even bigger. And then like some of the even like smaller guys up there, they came in like these pods, and you could unwrap the pods, and then you had like this instant display stand. They all would fit in the pods a certain way, and it was, for me, the coolest toy. I think at least from my 4th to probably 8th birthday, I had gotten Bionicles for every major holiday and Christmas.
That's awesome. I was reminded when you showed me that of there was a toy back in the 80s called Modulock that was like a He-Man in the Masters of the Universe figure that was basically that. He came in a box with a lot of parts, extra parts, multiple heads, multiple bodies, and he had all these plugs that you could like fit different pieces into and stuff. And that's basically what he was. Like he was a Bionicle before there were Bionicles. But you reminded me, and if in case you're interested in it, I discovered this guy at Comic-Con. He's making something called Biomasters. And it's basically that, but like with more unique parts. So there are these little kits of figures. And when I show you these are just toys
it's like a
that,
little kit bash.
yeah, it comes with a bunch of parts, and these are examples of the different kinds of monsters you can make with the parts that come in the bag. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So like, and then he sells them with just different color variants, basically. So like, they come with a bunch of, like, these are some of the parts, but there's other parts you can like use instead of it and stuff. And yeah, it's the bio masterdesign.com. It's a pretty cool thing. Very similar to, I think you might like them. I think it's very similar to the experience that you got from Bionicles, in that you can just make all kinds of things. They just have more like unique parts, like heads and stuff like that. So
looking at the username of whoever posted this, PBussy3.
Nice.
So I will look into Biomasters. These would look cool at the very least on my desk. So.
Yeah, I actually picked one up at Comic-Con, and I have not taken the time to put it together, but I will. I will locate them and put them together. It's pretty cool. There you go. That was our segment on toys. You got anything on news?
I do. I'm bringing it back to toys. Lego announced this week their second wave of MCU Disney Plus minifigures. I actually got the whole first wave behind me somewhere. But yeah, we got some little Moon Knights, both Moon Knights.
Spoilers in there.
There's an Echo, Werewolf by Night. There's an X-Men. There's even a Goliath from What If, whenever that show comes out. Yeah, these are always their little collectible figures. They do these like blind bag minifigs with extra printing on the sides, a lot of extra little accessories, but they're just like cool little dudes you can put around or put in your little displays.
I like the Beast. He's cool.
He comes with a coffee mug, a little X-Men coffee mug. So.
Nice. I'm assuming the Beast and Wolverine are from X-Men 97 and Storm.
Yeah, the Beast, Wolverine, and Storm are from 97.
Yeah.
And this will come out later this year in September at a retailer.
I'm pretty excited for that cartoon, by the way, just so you know.
When did they put a date on it?
I don't remember if they did, but I need that.
I think I'm ready to do the binge.
Okay, I'll give you this fair warning. Be okay with ending it before the final season. You can still watch the final season, but like watch it as like a weird, crappy epilogue
But doesn't this feed into the final season?
I think it does, but like the animation is terrible because Fox took their budget away at the end of the second to last season, and so the final season is funded out of pocket by the producers, like, of the show, and so they had to outsource the animation to a studio, I think in Mexico. It might have been somewhere in South America. The animation is bad, dude. It's really bad. But the voice acting's still there, and the writing's still there. So just fair warning. It's not pretty.
Last week we talked about some Marvel Legends, but we forgot some of the stuff they teased. If you're looking up on the left, I pulled this from Marvelous News. There is a MCU looking Doc Ock arm, and then to the right is a Sanctum Sanctorum.
It's the
window.
Cube that they use.
Oh, it's a cube. It's a cube. Sorry, it's a cube.
It's the cube they used to collect all the Spider-Man villains in No Way Home. Remember?
Yes.
Yeah. They did. This was the finale of their panel at Comic-Con 2 weeks ago. They basically teased that we're gonna get a box set probably, or a set of the No Way Home villains, and cool. I mean, everybody wants the movie figures like redone because Toy Biz made them 1 billion years ago, but like,
there's the Legends lizard, right?
It's not in the Legends line, but Hasbro did make a lizard with Legends articulation. Yes. He is.
But I do not
have him. Well, Hasbro actually has made all of them. before, because it happened when Hasbro took over the toy license from Toy Biz. They took over the molds too, and so they got to release some of the stuff that Toy Biz never got a chance to release, or they re-release things. So Hasbro, one of the first waves of figures they did with a Build-A-Figure was for Spider-Man 3. They released a Sandman Build-A-Figure, and they repackaged all of the old villains from the older movies that they didn't make toys for.
Okay.
So there is a Hasbro branded Doc Ock, there's a Hasbro Green Goblin, Hasbro Spider-Man, and Hasbro, so they've technically made them all, like, from the Spider-Man movies.
I remember you gave me a movie Doc Ock that had articulated arms, and that was a really cool toy.
Yeah, movie Doc Ock is a cool toy. The new one will probably be way cooler. But it is a very good toy. It's a very good toy. So probably why I gave it to you, because it's so good.
Other than that, there were not a lot of news this week. There was some Fantastic Four rumors, if you want to talk about that.
Well, the X-Men 97 wave did go up for pre-order today or yesterday.
And the West Avengers is shipping.
I think the Avengers is shipping tomorrow. Yeah, I think they.
Miles is finally shipping.
Nice.
My wave Miles.
What was the other thing you were going to mention?
So Fantastic Four, little rumors. So the last bit of casting with Adam Driver, Margot Robbie.
That went in.
That went in the can.
That went in the can, right? Yeah.
The next round of rumors is Vanessa Kirby as Invisible Woman. I forgot his name. The guy from Stranger Things. The Joseph Quinn. There you go, as Johnny Storm. Okay. And Ebon.
I think I've heard that.
He's a guitar guy from the last season of Stranger Things. The Eddie guy.
Oh, that guy is Johnny Storm.
Eddie Munson. There you go. It's always slipped me. And then Ebon, not playing the Thing, but the Silver Surfer.
Where are all these rumors coming from?
I just look at the news every now and then.
When are we going to get confirmation of any of these things?
It's just a big thing, making sure that doesn't happen right now. So
I guess so. Yeah. But then none of that stuff, they can't even be discussing those things right now. They can't be working on those deals right now during the strike. So that means it's all just conjecture.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all been.
Yeah, well, I mean,
do we know by next Comic-Con?
Yeah, we know by next Comic-Con. I think we know by then. Right. For sure. I think I'm just got my blinders more focused on the immediate. That's why I'm excited for X-Men 97. That's why I'm excited for What If, and that's why I just, like, I have accepted that this strike is going to affect the way we consume entertainment for a long, long time. And I'm just okay with getting whatever stuff we get. Like, that's why I think it's hilarious that, like, we got so many shows dropped on us this last week, like that I can't keep up with. And it's like, guys, slow down, because you do know you're going to run out of stuff in a little while if you just keep dropping it all on us. So just saying. Yeah, I have nothing else to add to that, but I'm tired of the, like, where are the Fantastic Four things coming from? I don't get it. I don't understand.
Just the internet, ether.
The ether.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's for me. It's like when we got what's his face in Doctor Strange, like John Krasinski. There was so much. There was so much discussed about it that, like, when it finally happened, I was like, yeah, but now I don't really want to.
Every week we get leaks that ooze out in one way or another.
Oh my god.
And speaking of ooze, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
You know what? I think I just realized that's why we have so many people listening to our show. It's the segues.
I try. I really do. Some weeks I'm on the ball, some weeks I'm not.
They're so good. But I think
that's my game.
If you're tuning into this show, you appreciate how damn cheesy those segues are sometimes.
And it's gotta keep going. If you like them, like and subscribe. Patreon.com.
Exactly. Like and subscribe right there. All right, we're talking Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. It came out August 2nd.
Yes.
It is a fully animated Ninja Turtles movie, produced by Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, and Jeff. Well, I know those two. I think Jeff Rowe also. I know Jeff Rowe was one of the two directors as well. This movie had me pretty hyped going in because it kind of looked like Spider-Verse, right? It kind of looked
a little bit more. There's a Spider-Verse-ness to it, but there's almost like a claymation.
Yeah, but I meant that's what I meant by look like Spider-Verse. Like, we were mentioning earlier how I watched the Mario movie the other day, or Super Mario Brothers movie. And I think one of the reasons I don't like that movie is it uses the same animation style that every freaking animated movie has been using since Pixar showed up, right? Everybody thinks that you have to make your kids movie look like a Pixar movie in order to succeed. And I'm not saying they didn't succeed. Don't get me wrong. Mario Brothers made a lot of money, but I think it forced the industry as a whole to like conform to a certain animation
Spider-Verse style. Yeah, I mean,
and Spider-Verse changed the game, right? And Spider-Verse
changed the game. You had Mitchell's versus the Machines.
You have every style you ever want at your fingertips. Just do it. And so what I mean when I say this looks like Spider-Verse is it looks like a new animated movie that is embracing creating its own visual style. And yeah, you're right. That visual style is like this weird hybrid of claymation. I mean, we know it's not claymation, but they look like clay, like
the producers, the goal was to make it look like a teenager drew or was able to draw these scenes. I think they did, because there is a beauty to this movie in the way that things are. Everything in the foreground is very, I guess, stylized, right? Is the right word. But anything in the background, clouds, the moon, some of the buildings, if you look at them, if you pause, they're like just straight up doodles.
It looked like a comic book, dude.
But not like a.
No,
like
I'm
a
saying
teenager drew a comic book.
I'm saying the movie looked like a comic book to me. That's what I loved about it the most. Is it looked like I was looking at the old school handful of Ninja Turtle comics that I did read, but blown into full color with like full 3 dimensions to it. Like it felt like it was stretching the page, into the 3rd dimension, and that's what I was hyped about going in, and that was the one of the things that truly lived up to my own hype. Like it is the way this movie looks it's a piece of art. It's a true piece of art. And so if nothing else, like if this conversation goes a million different directions, like where you can't tell if I like the movie or dislike the movie, just know that if you are ever down to like go on Netflix and find the visually stunning category of movies, this movie deserves to be there, right? Like, just do that. Just go watch it for that reason alone.
What sold me on this movie was the Turtles. Specifically, they're played by teenagers, which is that a first in Turtle history?
Yeah, it is.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles being played by actual teenagers.
Well, I mean, most cartoons, most actors just aren't kids,
Yeah, but one of the things they did with this movie that's fairly unique in the world of animation is that they had the kids record together. So they're playing a lot of their dialogue is it bounces off each other. It's very snappy. It's very quippy. It's very, You know, much of it's improvised, and it translates so well in getting across each of the characters and their, you know, what you still get the Raph being the buff guy, the strong guy, Leo being a pseudo leader, Mikey being funny. But there's just a levity and goofiness to it that feels natural and not forced. And I think that's a very tough thing to come across if you're just writing that. But actually having kids playing off each other just lends so much more charm and character to the Turtles than I think I've ever seen them done before.
I don't even think that that's the reason that they succeed at that. I'm not saying that the kids themselves aren't super charming, but it's actually what I think that sells the charm more is that they broke the normal animation convention, and they actually brought as many of people as they could into the recording studios at the same time. Mm-hmm. So like that was a big thing for Seth Rogen. I've seen in interviews and stuff is because he got to, you know, he's got a very recognizable voice, right? He's in a lot of
he's in a lot of animated stuff.
He's in Super Mario Brothers too, like, you know, yeah. But so he's a pro when it comes to animation, and one of the things he always like disliked about he says he's done like 20 movies animated, and it's always him in a recording room by himself. And when he got to do The Lion King, he was really surprised because Jon Favreau actually wanted Timon and Pumbaa and Simba to be in the room together recording. So he got to experience that for the first time. And that was something that stuck with him. And so when it came time to do this movie and he's producing it, right? And he saw this beautiful chemistry that these four kids had, mm-hmm. He was like, we have to do it this way, you know? And so a lot of the movie, like, is they threw out the script and just told the kids what the plot was in this moment in the scene and let them act it as their characters fluidly in the room together. And that comes through big time, right? Like, but like, I don't think it's just the kids, right? Like, I think like Ayo Edebiri is an amazing April, and I could tell she was in the room with them when when they're talking, you know, like it felt natural. It felt like
it's almost like, I don't know if quickness is the right word, but it's just a snappiness to their dialogue that that's something like that's almost impossible to script. At the very least, the timing of, and they didn't. and you know, so to have them all to get that with the way that they did it, I think it's a game changer in the way people are going to start recording voice acting in the future.
Yeah, for sure. And if it's any consolation when you're asking, you know, if they ever had teenagers, I mean, technically, I don't know if you know, but Ernie Reyes Jr., like, he's a famous martial arts that started out as a kid actor. I think he did play Donatello in the movies, just not the voice. He was actually the guy in the suit. Like, he was the kid in the suit. He was a teenager.
Well,
so does that count?
I mean, it does. On the note of famous martial artists, I think this is the first time
he's a martial arts actor. Yeah,
I've seen Jackie Chan not play. He's just a dad. Like, in this, one of the weird kind of changes they made.
He's a ninja dad. But
he's a ninja dad, but they retcon Splinter a bit, right? Where they
retcon the origin story significantly.
Yeah, but Splinter learns, I guess, post transformation. Is that a good way to put it? How to be a ninja, and then teaches the turtles. But he's not. I just feel like you get to see more Dad Splinter in this movie, and I kind of really like that. I don't.
Dad Splinter is awesome. I am a little confused as to why, if they changed the story so much to the point where he's just a New York City rat, mm-hmm. I'm trying to understand why he sounds like Jackie Chan.
You know, New York's a very diverse city.
Yeah, that's why you wouldn't get one accent. You would get all the accent. You know, like,
I just think it's cool to see just to hear Jackie Chan, because he's not it's not his kind of normal MO
Yeah.
of martial art character. You know, he's
No, I know it's a different role for Jackie Chan, and I kind of like it. I like him in it. I just like I I try to embrace the story. You know, I try to they made changes to the story for
Mhm.
to be different, right? And they
Yeah.
decided that Baxter Stockman is the reason that all of these mutants exist. His stuff fell into the sewers, sure, but unlike the older stories that are I mean, they're cheesy, but like with Splinter either being the rat of a martial arts
Martial arts,
sensei
yeah.
or being an actual
He's a guy that transforms into a rat,
I,
right?
I
And
I I don't think so. Yeah. No, but you know what I mean? Like somebody who is trained in martial arts
mhm.
as a rat, um, because of being from Japan or whatever, stuff like that. Instead of all that, he just watches a bunch of YouTube, right? Like he watches YouTube and learns martial arts. And he gets videos and stuff like that. You know, he gets like he gets VHS tapes, whatever, all these things. And that's how they learn to be ninjas.
I loved it
Uh,
though. I loved it because
it's
when it
funny.
first comes on, it's cheesy because they're playing like a martial arts video, right? Like a VHS. But then as it progresses, you kind of start saying, "Oh, this dude's on YouTube and TikTok," and I'm like, that's what everyone learns these days. Like,
That's why I'm super weirded out by his accent. That's why I just don't understand it. It's like he's a product of uh TV and the internet and
I mean, if you
being in
want
New
to go
York.
further, the other mutants all have their own accents.
I know. And it's weird. And I don't understand. Like I don't get it. It's okay. It's all right. It's not that I'm mad. I just don't
That
get it. I don't
well,
get it.
I was gonna reach the end with Superfly, but that if you want to talk about like accents and dialect, Ice Cube plays Superfly, right? Superfly's from New York. Ice
It's
Cube
like
is very famously not from New York.
I know.
So to hear Ice Cube speak, to hear Ice Cube be Ice Cube for someone who's born and raised on the East Coast is a little weird
Yes.
because
I
they're very polar opposites.
Yeah, I would say like that's for me. That's where the movie hits its kind of lowest point in my. It kept it from being a work of perfection in the way that Spider-Verse is for me. Like I love looking at this movie. I love listening to most of this movie, but I don't love listening to Ice Cube be the main antagonist of this movie. I felt like I got the rug. I got like the old switcheroo played on me because the movie starts with Giancarlo Esposito as Baxter Stockman, a very well-known villain in the lore of the Ninja Turtles universe. And you're like, and it's before he's had a horrible accident and turned into a fly man. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh man, Giancarlo, let's go. And I'm super excited. And then after his scene in the movie, that's it. He's never in the movie again. And instead, we later meet the fly person that is like a stand in for Baxter, which is Ice Cube as Superfly. And I mean, you're making me compare Ice Cube to Giancarlo Esposito movie. Like the movie did that, you know what I mean? Like, and so
Who has a more iconic voice, Giancarlo Esposito or Ice Cube?
um I appreciate I mean, that's weird. That's a weird question. Like I appreciate Giancarlo's more. I think he's
I'm
like when I
happy that it's like Ice Cube being Ice Cube. If anything, I think it would have been weird if it was Ice Cube not being Ice Cube, right?
I guess, but I don't want Ice Cube to be my villain in a
you're
superhero movie.
super
You know what I
fly.
mean? Like, yeah, like I could have been more okay with Ice-T playing that role. I don't know. Like, yeah,
Ice T would have been a better option.
he would have been.
Ice T is from the East Coast.
Yeah, he would have been better. It's just look, I like Ice Cube. I think he's a great entertainer. I just don't think he's the most believable supervillain. Like I don't know. Like am I weird? Like for that? I don't know. Like
No, it's not a word.
So that for me, you know, like I always say, like a hero is only as good as his villain, and
Mhm.
it when it becomes very apparent that Ice Cube is the villain of the story, it's hard for me to like be
Well,
excited about the
how
outcome.
were the other villains, i.e., mutants, for you then?
I don't think they were either or. You know, I don't think they were really villains
Well, they're definitely
or
mutants.
yeah, they're mutants. I think they're characters that got introduced there so that we can meet them more in depth later. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I think the only one that got a lot of screen time was Mondo Gecko, played
Yeah,
by
Mondo Gecko's
Paul
pretty
Rudd.
great.
And that was an amazing character. And I just love that the movie ends in the credits with and introducing Paul Rudd as Mondo Gecko. And that cracked me up because, like, of course, Mondo Gecko, played by Paul Rudd, would be the most charming character of the little cast of mutants because it's played by Paul Rudd. And you don't even need to see Paul Rudd on the screen to be charmed by Paul Rudd. That's how great Paul Rudd is. So he a mission accomplished, man. Like he knocked it out of the
I mean,
park.
I thought they showed they had some heavy hitters for the other mutants, and even with Paul Rudd there, he's in it, but none of the other mutants are in it a ton.
They're not, and that's kind of why.
But
Like,
they're used. I think they're used sparingly, but in a good way. Like I want more. I'm not tired of any of the other mutants.
no,
Show
that's
me a
fair.
John Cena Bebop, or show me John Cena Rocksteady and a Seth Rogen Bebop.
Yeah,
Down from Rose Byrne.
and that's fair. And so what was really funny, Ricky, is when I was talking to you about this the other day as we were planning for the show. When I talked to you about it that day, that was like an hour after I watched the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a little cranky. Because I wanted more. I did want more, but I felt like I wanted too much more. You know what I mean? Because I didn't feel like I got enough. And then you told me that this show, the cast is actually contracted for 2 seasons of a TV show and then another movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh, so it's like Star Wars: The Clone Wars. And you're like, yeah,
Basically.
yeah. So basically, this movie is actually the long pilot for a TV series, right?
Well, what do they tee up for us in this one? They tee up a Shredder
Mm-hmm.
and
Spoilers.
Uma. I mean, yeah, spoilers. She's Krang, right? I forgot her name. Uma. Irma.
Cynthia Utrom.
Utron. There you go. Cynthia
Is
Utron.
she? I guess she could be Krang. Yeah.
I mean, she looks like Krang.
Because I
She
think
looks like
Utrom is the species of the Krangs, actually.
She has the glasses, yellow with the gloves.
Yeah, no, I see it now. I see it. Okay.
I was looking up turtle lore, and is Shredder a Krang in some of the shows, or no?
No, not usually not.
Okay.
No, but I'm not gonna. I haven't watched every single Ninja Turtles cartoon ever, so
The Ninja Turtle thing that I got into as a kid was the one that came out in the early aughts.
the Nickelodeon, the CG one.
No, it was on like WB. I want to say back in the day.
I think I know which one you're talking about. The CG one's my favorite one.
CG one's good. That was like my turtle show watched growing up. And I love they always did the movies, and they had a crossover movies with the 80s turtles. And
yeah, I know. I've seen that.
The early one was a little bit more serious, but when they came across the 80s turtles, like, why are you fighting a banana? Like, April, what's wrong with you? It is pretty funny.
Yeah. It's true.
But
yeah, I could see her being, yeah. I mean, they teed up a lot of things, but at the very least, I mean, they introduced like so many characters, right? Like they had Bebop, Rocksteady, Leatherhead, Wingnut, Mondo Gecko, Ray Fillet, Genghis Kong, Genghis Frog. I meant to say, yeah, and they're workshopping that name. All of these mutants were introduced, and they don't do much in the story other than like kind of be, swaying back and forth between Team Turtles versus Team Superfly, and then in the end of the story, they just all live in the sewers with the turtles. And so it kind of, for me, it set up, that was the setup for a TV show, right? It was like Well, I would like to have an episode about each of them to know what they're up to. Like, what is their deal? I don't know anything about them, And so it when you told me that's exactly what is happening, then I was like a lot more forgiving of the movie, because like what I thought was they were just trying to do the Turtles masterpiece, right? Like just like the way that's the way I see Spider-Verse, right? Into the Spider-Verse, the first one
Mhm.
is just like that is the greatest Spider-Man movie because you can be a fan of Peter Parker, you can be a fan of Miles Morales, you can be a fan of Spider-Ham. Doesn't matter. That movie sees you and it makes you feel heard and seen. So like it's just like it's the end all be all of Spider-Man stories. And it felt like that's what they were trying to do with this, but then once I watched it, I was like, no, this felt good. It felt really, really good. It's a very fun story, but it felt like it wanted to tell so much more that it didn't get to finish telling.
It sets a nice plate. I was really happy at the end because the motive for the turtles, right, in this whole movie is they're gonna save the day so people will love them and accept them,
Yeah,
and that's kind of
yeah,
like at its core. It's like they're teenagers; they just want to be liked by people and by their peers. That's a very teenage
it is.
problem,
It's a
an issue
very
to
teenage
deal with.
problem, and that was a
And
really
I was
cool way to
happy that they
frame it.
got it.
Yeah.
At the movie is again spoilers. They end and they're going to high school. They're the turtles are out. People know
Oh,
about the
that's a bad
turtles,
idea, man. That's a bad idea.
and that is that. I mean, that's the first time I've seen the turtles be amongst the people. That's
I've seen them be amongst the people, but like I don't think I've ever seen them go to high school.
like
So
it's really
yeah,
like it's sweet. Like at the end, they're going to wrestling and anime club and prom, and they're all in their different like little outfits.
it
It's
yeah.
really fun.
I'm not yeah, I'm not knocking any of that. I really do love the creative choices they went with. I just felt like it left me wanting so much more. And it made me so happy to know that we're gonna get a lot more of it. And so that made it easier for me to not look at it as critically as like this is a Ninja Turtles movie by itself that I need to hold up, up to everything else.
It's the only thing
Uh,
you're gonna get. You're getting more.
no, yeah, I'm getting a bunch of it, and that made me happy because like I do like the story. And I actually truly that's one of the best parts of the story is what you mentioned is the fact that like it's about them going from like thinking that if the city
They're gonna get
loves them,
milked.
what's that?
They're gonna get milked.
Oh
That's the
yeah,
joke.
yeah, being the
Humans are
joke
gonna
that
kidnap them and milk them.
the humans hate them so much they'll milk them, right? But like they just want humans to like them, so they think that if they save all the humans, then they've got to like them. And it's not a very altruistic, point of view that they start with, but I like where it gets to by the end, where it's just like, no, they just want to do the good thing because they have to, even if the humans don't like them. And I think that's awesome because it's a nice hero's journey that ends with them doing the good deeds regardless of the outcome, but then being rewarded for it by having this great moment that I've seen that quite a few times in Spider-Man movies where the city
The
the
city
city of
helps
New
them. Yeah.
York, yeah, gets behind them and helps them win against the bad guy. I think that was like another thing about it that like as much as I really like these beats that happen in this movie, I couldn't help feel like they were a little bit, retread. Like I had seen some of these things before, and so that's what was making it just shy of being a perfect movie for me. As I kept
I don't
seeing
think
things,
it's definitely not above Spider Verse, but
yeah,
this movie hits. It is the best Turtles movie I've seen.
yeah. I don't know that that's true for me. Um, I really love what is it, the 2007 TMNT movie with like Chris Evans as like as Casey
Leonardo.
Jones, as Sarah Michelle
Yep.
Gellar, as April and stuff. Like that movie is super cool because it's like the spiritual sequel to all the other movies, the live action movies,
Mhm.
but they do things with the turtles that the live action could never do because it's animation, and so they really progress the story in ways like where, you know, Raphael is being Batman. Basically, he's going out and superheroing by himself every night. Leonardo's actually gone on secret missions to like the Amazon. He's not even in New York and stuff. And so you get to see the Turtles in a new not just environment, but you get to see them in a new dynamic where they're not the solid team that they usually are. And so you have to see them go through all these struggles. And I just really liked it because it was pushing the Turtles to be, it was pushing the story in a different direction. Whereas this movie is a reboot of the origin of the Ninja Turtles. And instead of having the Shredder, they have Superfly. That's what this movie is.
That's a good ramp. I think it's a good ramp though from Shredder or from Superfly to a Shredder.
Oh yeah, because you set up the Shredder to be the second. Yeah. But like, I think the movie cares enough about like the old toy line. It cares enough about the cartoons and the movies and stuff. But it's not. It doesn't want to. It still wants to tell you an origin story packaged in the standard wrapper for
they definitely trim the fat though. It is a very. They hit the beats. You know what they are, but I don't think they linger on any of their origin.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, I know you didn't like it, but I absolutely love the no diggity scene.
No, I did like the no diggity. Okay. I love the no diggity scene. What I was saying is, one, they overuse music. Certain songs they use more than one scene. And that was kind of weird for me that they kept reusing music. But then two, I just thought it was weird that they had some very adult choices for songs.
Ooh, baby, I like it raw.
Yes. Now, the no diggity scene, the Blackstreet, I like the way you work it. That scene is beautiful. It is one of the best scenes in the entire movie. I just kept hearing every time he said, "I gotta bag it up." I'm like, you're taking me out of the moment for a second because
you gotta bag it up.
I know the parents know what that means, and I'm really hoping the kids that are watching this movie do not know what that means.
I've heard no diggity in Whole Foods. So I think we're good.
It's not that I didn't like it. I think it's one of the best action sequences in the whole movie.
In general, I think the editing, they linger on a lot of the fights, and I think that's a good call. Not a lot of quick cuts. You get to see the Turtles in action.
Yeah, I feel like the fights are really good when they happen. I don't think they happen enough in that movie. I also don't think I got to see enough variety of pizza in that movie, and that hurt my soul. But I did go eat pizza after the movie, so mission accomplished.
So was it Pizza Hut?
No, I don't do Pizza Hut.
Well, you didn't do it right then.
Sorry. Yeah. But I did love this movie. I really did. I just
highly recommend.
I think I went into it hoping for a Spider-Verse, and I don't think that's a good bar to ever set for a movie. That's not fair. That's not fair to any movie.
Is this in your top 3 for the year?
I'm not sure that it is actually.
But it top 5?
Maybe top 5.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, this is a year with as much as I harp
on Spider-Man, Barbie.
You got to know, as much as I might have ragged on Spider-Verse 2, I'm absolutely buying it next week and rewatching it over and over and over. Like, I'm going to buy the crap out of that movie as soon as it comes out in 4 days. I still think that is one of the best movies of the year. I also think Guardians 3 is one of the best movies of the year.
Now on Disney Plus.
It is? It's on Disney
Plus? Yeah, came out yesterday.
Yep. Nice. And I'm not going to say Barbie's top 3. It's tough for me to think of another one right now at the moment. It was more special, but I would say Barbie's up there in the top 5 for right now. So yeah, the top 5 spot gets a little squishy, but I think the Turtles could fit in there for right now.
Turtles up there. It is one of the better movies of the year.
It's better, but was there not? No, Ant-Man is not. Ant-Man is not up there. Shazam 2 is not up there. What are other movies?
Fast X.
No. Okay, we'll just move on from this.
We'll
Go
move
see
on.
the Turtles. Go see the Turtles. It's good.
The other thing that came out this week that we are talking about is Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn season 4 premiered last week with 3 episodes. This week we got episode 4.
Did you read the title of the episode?
Actually, I didn't. What was the title?
I think it was
I should read the
title. Business Conference Without Chlamydia, I think was the episode name.
No.
I thought it was called The First Person to Leave a Business Conference Without Chlamydia, but IMDb is saying it's this, but I think it is the other.
I mean,
but yeah, no. This was an interesting episode. It was the premise was because
Ivy goes to VillainCon, right?
Yeah, she goes to MalCon. And I think they had a MalCon before in the previous one of the previous seasons actually. But she's been invited. It's on the moon. And so while she's up there doing her schmoozing and guest speaking and stuff like that, Harley's down in Gotham trying to help the Bat family reconcile with the fact that somebody stole all their gadgets and they have to learn how to fight without their toys. It turns out Talia is taking over Wayne Enterprises. I think we learned that last episode. And she feels that their gadgets are not in the budget anymore. So she's making them learn how to fight on their own. And so it does create for some fun hijinks on both sides of the thing, but it does get on my nerves a little bit, like that the core awesome joy of the show was always Harley, Ivy, and Harley's gang of evil guys. And so it's weird to me that we're breaking them up, every episode now and not putting them in the best circumstances they could to succeed.
It is a little weird. It is because the Nightwing, Batgirl, Robin, they were in the show up until they were in the first 3 seasons, right? But they were
Nightwing was not, but Batgirl and Robin were for sure.
They would come in character of the week style, and it was funny. It was really funny when they would. I love the arch enemy, right, with Robin and Harley Quinn episode.
But now it's too much, right?
Yeah, now it's a little too much. I don't really love their stuff. I do. Yeah. I really did enjoy the gimmick though of them. You guys just suck if you don't have a stun gun or a baton or anything. And I kind of really did enjoy that because it is kind of true, right? They're gadget people. I think Batman's the one that can do it without it, but they're all gadget based. I did enjoy the Ivy stuff more in this episode, and she had more going on. Granted, at her conference, the kind of meta humor with billionaires and corporate life structure and what actually happens at a business conference. It was all kind of chef's kiss with what they touched on.
And the rocket that's shaped exactly like a penis with balls that have pubic hair on it.
Pubic hair antennas.
And there's a scientific reason why it has to be shaped like that.
Blows steam.
Yeah, I know. The Ivy stuff was the funnier stuff for me, and that was, I think that's what was weird for me on a show called Harley Quinn, is I actually wasn't very entertained by the Harley Quinn story. I was far more entertained by everything going on with Ivy's world and Lex Luthor being
Giancarlo again.
Yeah, exactly. He's always Giancarlo in the show, and that's what I love about it. He's just such a great bad guy, even if in this show he's just being a giant douche, right? That's his role in this show, is to just be a douchebag, and just be the guy that is secretly pumping his calves under his pants, and he's doing a snake skin bath to remove all the dead skin from
some billionaire shit right there.
Yeah, and he's washing his hands with dead baby seal blood. So all the ridiculous things that he's doing, and he's just secretly trying to get appear cool Steppenwolf, right? Like who is like the big player coming down from the planet Apocalypse to come schmooze with the lowly convention people.
That was, if I had a gripe with this episode, over the past couple of years, Steppenwolf's stock as usual kind of went down, given the Snyderverse and whatnot.
I don't know how it could go down. It if anything, it went up in that people finally knew there was a character
called Steppenwolf
named Steppenwolf. Yeah, so I think any
publicity. Well, like with
publicity
Bane in the show, Bane kind of pulls heavily from the Tom Hardy Bane, right? At least in voice.
Yeah,
and I was kind of waiting for some type of Steppenwolf adjacent joke or meta commentary, and there really wasn't. He's just a bad guy.
No, he was more than a bad guy though. That dog was hilarious, man. Like his wolf was just going around eating everybody at the convention, and like no one did anything about it. He was just people were like screaming bloody murder as like their arms get bit off or whatever. And like I really loved the subtle, like the joke that they had going on with him. I liked that the joke had nothing to do with the movie because like let him exist in a different capacity. The reason Bane in Harley Quinn is like Bane from the movie is because that shit is funny, right? That shit's really funny. But there's also a reason the Joker's not Heath Ledger Joker or Mark Hamill Joker. Like sometimes you got to make it your own thing. And I think I was happy that Steppenwolf was not in any way affiliated with the movie. And I just got to like him and laugh for a completely different reason. That he's got a dog that just runs around murdering, just maiming people left and right. That was pretty funny. And apparently he's gay too. So cool for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want my Steppenwolf baggage.
Yeah, I will say, it was weird because last week we were not sure how many episodes we were going to get, and then we ended up getting 3, which was 2 more than we wanted or needed at the time. But I will say this episode ended in a weird cliffhangery way that was like,
yeah, it did.
Awkward.
Well, Joker's bad again.
Joker's bad, and then Harley is like some sort of, I don't know, sleep zombie or something. I don't like
breaking air fryers and shit.
They just showed me stuff out of context that was really just. I'm sure this has context next week, but that was a weird, like, it was the weirdest cliffhanger I've ever seen. Where I didn't know if I should. I'm supposed to care. I'm supposed to care that.
No, Harley yeah, you're right. It's just a little out of context teases, right?
Yeah. Like, and I guess, Joker becoming evil again.
They kind of peppered it in, but
it had to happen. But like, I didn't feel like the catalyst was justified.
No, like, it was a very quick ramp back up to evil Joker.
Yeah, and so I was a little thrown off by some of the episode because it was just it felt like I got some important story beats like shoehorned in at the very last 5 seconds of the episode, and that made me walk away from it.
Well, how many episodes are we getting again?
10, I think. So
okay, so it's early on. We'll probably know.
We're almost halfway done already.
Is this the last season?
Yes, this is the last season.
Okay.
I don't think James Gunn's giving them another season. I don't know that they need another one though.
I don't know. I think you end on it's good to wind things down.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I think the thing that I will give Harley Quinn the credit for is that it clearly does not want to just do sitcom shenanigans for as long as they can.
No, I do appreciate the long form story with it.
They have a story that they're trying to tell, and they're trying to get there in the time allotted, so that's why we don't have Dr. Psycho and King Shark and Clayface just hanging around the apartment with Frank and getting high and having fun jokes about whatever's on TV and stuff. Like that's Rick and Morty, right? Rick and Morty, that they don't want that thing to ever end. So we'll get that kind of sitcom shenanigans from Rick and Morty. We get so much more from Rick and Morty than that too. But Harley Quinn knows it's got a finite existence and it wants to do something with that story. And so I'm here for that. That's what I'm here for, to see where they take it. So, props to them for doing different shit that feels out of the comfort zone, but maybe they'll pay off. Maybe it'll pay off,
I think it will.
What was your favorite part of that episode, though?
The Alfred in the toilet wine theme. He just ramps up back into some type of enterprise, and then it being toilet wine is pretty funny. White collar. What was it called? White collar bowl or something like that.
I can't remember. Yeah, I think my favorite thing in the episode was probably the sex scene between Lex and Talia.
This surrogate sex scene.
The surrogate sex scene was
the cape stays on.
No, yeah, no. Why is the cape off? It was riding. It was giving me a wedgie. The cape stays on till the end. The surrogate sex scene to like imply that he and Talia are somehow, sexually involved with each other, but they don't even want to dirty themselves with touching each other's bodies. So they just have two people screw in front of them and do what they tell them to do. That was amazing.
I feel like that's some like not too far from ice billionaire shit.
And when she started getting turned on by like making him feel small, and then when he's like, well, I don't want to do this anymore, and she's like, that was great. Like that she was sexually satisfied by his inability to finish. Like I really just appreciated that. That was that, yeah, I do feel like that on some level somewhere people are doing exactly that scene. Like that was not like, we'll never get to be those people that are doing that, but unless the show takes off tomorrow for sure, then surrogate sex all the way.
We gotta get marketed, get the Squarespace set up.
Is that cheating, by the way, if you go and watch somebody have sex?
I'm not gonna divulge the terms of someone's marital agreement.
But I mean, like in the biblical sense, that's probably cheating. Yeah, it probably is. Fair enough. All right, but yeah, no, I thought that was just such a well-written scene that it was kind of like, it was like the cherry on top for the whole episode. Like it's yeah, there was a lot of weird going on in that episode. There's a lot of funny. Pause the show, look at all the stuff going on at the convention if you get a chance. I don't know if you saw one of the names of the panels was like how to get away with farting in at the workplace or something like that. Like
no, it's pretty funny.
It was just, yeah, it was just all varying degrees of evil. Yeah, but like what a villain convention look like? I guess like that, I guess. Did you happen to see Dr. Felix Faust when he was doing his teleportation service, and he's like demoing and he's showing people that you can teleport them from one place to another, and he accidentally cut the leg off somebody as he closed the portal too soon. No. And then he just hid the body. Like there's a lot of fun stuff going on in the background of the episode. So like you should go back and watch the convention stuff, because it is very much the kind of stuff you would think you would see at a supervillain convention. So I do appreciate that meta level of humor that Harley Quinn consistently delivers every time, right? Like it's like, what would a convention look like in the DC universe?
Well, yeah, they definitely they ride both lines very well. They ride the DC humor, meta humor, right?
Yeah.
But I think they also get kind of real life subtext, or nuance, right? They both those lines parallel, and Harley Quinn's kind of right in the middle. And I to this show's credit, I don't find either side of it overbearing.
Yeah. It's definitely, it's not a 5 like you said at the beginning, but it's not a 3. So I guess you're right. I guess it is a 4.
It's a 4. I'll take a 4.
It's a 4. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, cool.
And for you, I think we'll wrap this up. What do we got next week? Harley Quinn, season 4, episode 5.
I think that's the only thing like that we know of right now that we're talking about. Like obviously there'll be nerd news. There'll be, I think there's
I think the next big thing's a Loki, and that's in October.
Loki is coming. Yeah, Loki's coming.
So
yeah, and then like there's
Blue
a
Beetle.
ton
We
of,
got Blue Beetle in like a few
Blue
weeks.
Beetle's next week.
Is it? Holy
Yeah.
shit!
Blue Beetle's actually in 4 days.
No, is it?
Yeah.
The 12th?
No, the 8th.
Oh, the 8th. That's not
That's,
bad.
that's 4 days from now.
All right, so I guess we're talking about Blue Beetle next week.
We might be talking about Blue Beetle, guys. So tune in next week when we talk about Blue Beetle, unless it comes out on the 12th, in which case we probably
wait. I'm gonna check. It comes out the 18th. I knew it wasn't next week.
Oh, you're right. It's the 18th. You're right.
Yeah.
It's not the 8th. It's the 18th.
We can't start our Latinx podcast appreciation at the beginning of the show and not know the date of Blue Beetle at the end.
We can do that though. We can, because I watched like 4 seasons of Mayan, so it's fair enough. It's good. All right,
Blue Beetle coming the 18th.
Go watch Ninja Turtles. Go watch Harley Quinn. Go watch Mayan's MC, and then let us know what you think in the comments. Come back.
Yeah.
Tell us
like and subscribe. Patreon.com/DenixMedia if you want to see this and some extra stuff. What do we got on there? Some more
a lot
photography.
Of photography stuff on there, and me rambling about like the different things I'm trying to do to succeed in life and be happy. But yeah, and then you can also find us on all the other social media platforms where you get various snippets of my life just put out there, or my art rather.
I realize we're not streaming to Twitter anymore. We're X.
We're streaming to X now, aren't we?
No, we're not, because I think we need to relog in.
Oh, well, it says we're streaming to it right now.
Well, YouTube and Twitch, but you can follow us there.
Oh, I see Twitter on my screen.
Oh, that's weird. I don't see it. Maybe you're seeing it, maybe you're not. Regardless, we do the show for you guys. With that,
we do it for us, and we hope that as a byproduct, you enjoy it too. Yeah.
And as a byproduct, I will say bye. Thank you, true believers.
So bad. Enough said.